This is Christine Brown, and while I have to listen to this podcast as my motherly duty, you have the choice not to. My sons sometimes say some naughty things when they're trying to be funny, but really, they're just being stupid. Do you still want to listen? Go right ahead. I am not your mother.
Welcome back to the Patriots Dynasty Podcast, the only podcast rewatching every game of the Dynasty era. Although right now we're kind of on a bit of a different tact. We are rewatching the rewatching of the Dynasty, if you will. We are currently going through the Apple TV Plus. I don't even know what they call themselves anymore. The documentary on Apple TV that you can find called The Dynasty: New England Patriots. A bit of a strange name, but that's okay. Last episode, we talked about the first two episodes. Our last episode, we talked about the first two episodes of the... This is going to get complicated already. We talked about the first two episodes of the documentary, of which there are 10.
It's like a dream within a dream, right, Andy?
Exactly, yeah.
Inception.
So this
we're
week
inceptioning the dynasty right now.
We're dynasty-ceptioning.
That's right.
So this week we're going to be talking about episode 3 and 4. Episode 3 is called Borrowed Time. And let me give you the blurb from Apple TV. In the wake of 9/11.
Before we do that, can we ask Steve what he has watched of this?
Well,
I'm gonna get there, but
yeah, it's fine. Let's go. I've watched the Chiefs game from 2005. Isn't that what we're doing here? Like 2005 week, was it week 13?
You're doing the full Greg Brown, I see.
Where he throws 3 interceptions to that fucking no-name guy.
No, I don't know what you think this television show is, Steve, but it's not that.
It's part of the Patriots Dynasty.
Steve's forgot what podcast he's on.
Does this documentary go game by game?
It does not.
Oh, that's not a real documentary, is it? Yeah. Sounds like they're going to gloss over a bunch of shit and make some shit up.
That's true.
Yeah. Fucking montage it.
So the last episode, I did say that I was trying to come into this with as much of an open mind as possible because I am a very big Belichick supporter, I think I said. And
Belichickistan.
And from what I've heard, this is there are some criticisms that this is a Belichick hit piece. The first two episodes did not portray that, right, Greg? They were pretty positive. I thought it was
fairly fair.
Yep. I was talking about kind of the first episode was about Drew Bledsoe getting hurt. Second episode was about the snowball. So some pretty positive things. But now we're episode 3 and 4. Episode 3 is called Borrowed Time. And the blurb is, in the wake of 9/11, the Patriots emerge on football's biggest stage and face pressure that could unite them or tear them apart. And episode 4 is called Spygate. I'm pretty sure we all know where this is going. After 3 Super Bowl wins, the Patriots are accused of videotaping an opponent's sideline signals and things start to spiral. So that is what the documentary creators are. See, I'm trying to be.
I feel like it doesn't describe it very well.
That's kind of what I was trying to say. Yeah,
the third episode is the first Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. So
and the fourth episode is Spygate /07.
Right.
Did they skip over Super Bowl 2 and 3?
Dude.
They just fucking gloss over that?
My first notes.
Did they not cover the Chiefs game where he throws 3 picks to some fucking no-name guy in 2005?
My first notes in all bold and all caps. Yo, where the fuck is the rest of the 2003, 2004 seasons?
There's literally like probably less than a minute of actual screen time that they put on those 2 Super Bowl seasons.
That's wild.
They go from the first Super Bowl and then this episode's about to end. And they're like, oh yeah, and then they won 2 more, and now they're a dynasty. It's like episode ends. It's like, what?
Yeah, they didn't even. I don't think they showed any clips from the Panthers Super Bowl. I think they showed Belichick getting the
Gatorade bath.
The Gatorade bath with his dad.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And the Harrison interception. They know they showed that.
Oh, right, yeah. But there's no mention of the Brady Manning, ongoing back and forth. There's no mention of the 21 game winning streak. Nothing about Bruce getting his heart. Like
Corey Dillon, just
nothing.
non-existent.
Yeah,
Antoine Smith doesn't exist.
Right. We just go from the Patriots won the Super Bowl in 2001. Spygate. Like, wait, what? How did we get here?
Yeah, that's a good. What was that? 6 years? 5 years?
Yeah. And so, I haven't watched any of these. I'm coming to this fresh, but I have seen the talk online about them as they were coming out. And one of the criticisms I saw that stuck with me is that, like, how I understand going into like, the drama that happens with the Patriots, because that's what the non-fans want to see. The general public, that's what's going to interest them. But you can't blow up the Death Star without showing how powerful it is before you do it. Like there's no payoff of like this.
Is that
Patriots.
your analogy?
No. This is someone I saw. It's a good one, right? That's why I obviously didn't come up with it. Yeah. Because like they didn't. I don't feel like they built up the Patriots of like, this is how successful they actually were, and that's why all the rest of this actually matters. That's why Spygate matters. It just wasn't that, and they didn't even like touch on the fact that the Patriots were the good guys in 2001 as much, because they were the underdogs and they were the Patriots coming out as a team, and they talked about all that, but like it didn't transfer into this is why. And there wasn't this like, oh, now there's a turning point of them becoming the bad guys. It was just like, oh, so they were good. And now all of a sudden it's Spygate. It was a hard jump, I thought. But I will say I did enjoy rewatching Super Bowl 36 against the Rams. And it actually works out well because I've been listening again to Edelman's podcast that we don't name here because he stole the name from Greg. But he had the one with Ty Law on, and I've been listening to Ty Law. Greg, have you heard it at all?
I've seen clips of it online, but I haven't listened to any of it.
Ty Law is a character. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's the man.
I highly recommend it. But in this one, he has some choice quotes too about how the pick six that he had against Kurt Warner is like one of the easiest receptions he's ever had.
Yeah,
I like those are the ones I usually drop. Because it's just like it's too easy. Like, there's got to be something wrong with this. But I thought there were some like behind the scenes stuff that I hadn't seen before. In terms of like they showed Will McGinnis like absolutely jawing at Jerome Bettis during the opening coin toss, which is really cool. Like literally instead of like shaking hands after the coin toss, he just like went up and got straight into his face. Like they were just yelling the entire time back and forth during the coin toss.
It's because he's setting the stage to fucking fuck him up during the game.
Yeah, it was awesome. Oh no, that wasn't even the Super Bowl, was it? That was the AFC Championship game, which again they kind of like touched on.
No mention of Troy Brown, Steve.
No mention.
This is why I didn't watch it. I knew that. That's why I just skipped it.
Yeah.
Hasn't even been brought up once.
Not even once.
Nope.
Yeah, no mention of him playing defensive back.
God.
Like that was a huge part of that 2004 season. They were so injured, and then you have Troy Brown playing defensive back and being second.
That is kind of bullshit. You can just fast forward through 2 Super Bowls back to back too.
Yeah, 3 and 4 seasons.
That's why this podcast will never be successful.
Why?
Because we're obsessed with stupid details that no one cares about.
I don't think so, because the reactions, there's a lot of like negativity around this.
Yeah.
That they, especially that they skipped all that.
But that's also Patriots fans reading that feedback, right?
Well, who else do you think is going to listen to this podcast, Greg?
Yeah, the target market for this podcast and this documentary are 2 very different markets.
That's the thing that I keep coming back to as well. Like even in the last episode, like who is this for? Because non-Patriots fans don't really care about the behind the scenes stuff, right? Like, what do they give a shit about? Like, they don't like the Patriots. Mm-hmm. They've had 20 years of not liking the Patriots. Why are they going to care now? And the Patriots fans aren't going to like it because all it is about the drama instead of like the actual success.
Look, if Apple TV came out with a fucking 6-part documentary about the fucking Jets dumpster fire over the last 20 years, fuck it, I am watching that shit
Yeah.
Of course
I
you are, but that's
will
because they
sign up
haven't-
for Apple TV to watch that shit.
But they
I
haven't.
don't even
beaten you
have an
for the
Apple
past
device
20
in my
years.
house. I'll go buy a fucking iPhone so I can go see that shit. Like I don't care. Like I would love that. That's who
The
they're
app
targeting.
sucks, dude, Steve. The Apple TV app is terrible. Oh, it's horrendous.
You can't even tell which show you're actually selecting because it doesn't highlight it well enough.
Well, like we literally can't watch it because you can't cast it to a Chromecast.
Exactly. That's another thing. I can't watch it on the treadmill because it won't cast.
Yeah.
I have to watch it on this tiny little fucking screen on my phone. It's noxious.
So even if I did want to watch this thing, I couldn't watch it.
Well, you
That's
can
true.
because you have me as your brother.
But
Wow.
episode 4, if you're a Patriots hater, the Spygate Super Bowl loss to the Giants is probably like football porn.
Yeah. I'm
You know?
Yeah, I wrote that it was hate porn. Like especially the way they cut they cut the clips up. Like it was just like
You thought it was
getting
like
battered, and then cut to like a Giants fan just like orgasming on the sidelines, and then just like back and forth over and over again. Like who's?
Did you
this
think it
for?
was unfair, Andy?
No. It just when I was watching this, I'm like, why am I watching this? This part.
It was a
specifically.
tough watch. I did.
Yeah.
I was watching it at dinner about 30 minutes ago, instead of listening to my wife or child. And I looked up at Kelly and I said, "I'm not enjoying this."
And then you had to come here and enjoy it even less.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Well, how much time did they devote to that 2007 Super Bowl? Like screen time for the actual game?
Pretty decent amount.
Yeah, probably half of the
Fourth
half of the episode
episode.
4.
Yeah, fourth
Episode 4
episode.
is
First half is Spygate, and then the second half is all the Super Bowl season.
Is each one like 16 minutes or something?
about 45 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
So we got like 15 seconds of Super Bowl 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And then again, like 30 minutes of Super Bowl 2007.
Yeah, but they also
Yeah,
spent
right.
2 full episodes on the first season.
Right.
So that was kind of jarring too, because they spent so much time like
Right.
developing that first season. They did like an episode on the Snow Bowl
Mhm.
and then the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship, and then they're like, "Oh yeah," and there was 2 more seasons.
Right.
They just mentioned it. You know, it was like
Yeah.
you spent so much time on this one season, you almost expected that to like carry through.
Right. And even this one, like the episode 3 was all about why they called it borrowed time. I'm not exactly sure because it was all about the 2001 Super Bowl. And then right at the end, they're just like, oh, and they won a couple more. And it's like, but what about, and then Spygate happened. It's like, well, that's actually like 6 years apart. Like there's other stuff that happened.
So what you're saying is for those listening, if they really want to relive those Super Bowls, they should go back to our podcast episodes and listen to every single game of every
Exactly.
single season.
Or just listen to
And-
the Super Bowls. Like you can listen to Super Bowl episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just the episode.
the
Which we
pacing
have
is very
Kevin Falk on one of them. We got
Mhm.
Matt Chatham.
Matt Chatham on one of them. Yep. I think he was on the first Super Bowl. But
Yeah,
yes.
you're right. That was the first one.
All right, I have a couple notes, questions for you guys from the first episode. So they went
Third episode.
the third episode, yes, sorry. They went into the Patriots coming out as a team, right?
Mm.
And how inspirational that was. Looking back, do we think that's corny or not?
No, not for the time.
No way.
'Cause
And it was a crazy train. That was what makes it not corny.
it was post 9/11, and it was like they were, the Patriots. They were the embodiment of America, wearing red, white, and blue, and then to come out as a
Mhm.
team is like this unifying thing where the whole country kind of been unified around this event that happened. I think the fact that it happened on the fly, I thought was pretty cool too. Like they weren't planning on doing that until they got to the tunnel, and somebody in the back's being like,
You
"Hey, let's
buy
go out as a
that?
team."
Do you buy that?
Yeah.
Then how do people know to announce them as a team?
They actually told the guy at the front. I heard
There's a guy at the front with a microphone?
Yeah, there's literally a guy standing there with a microphone. Like as they go out, he
yells
who
out
they
their
are.
names. Yeah.
I remember hearing it from again.
I feel like
either Ty
everything's
Law or
choreographed
Ernie
in a
Adams.
Super Bowl.
Huh?
I feel like everything's choreographed in a Super Bowl.
Well, they've been doing it before the Super Bowl, right?
Exactly. So they would almost expect them to do it again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they were like, "Oh, let's decide in the tunnel." Nah, I'm not buying that.
I don't know. Ty Law seemed like he had mixed emotions about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was the podcast I listened to. I don't know. But he was talking about like, you grow up wanting to be,
Hell yeah,
be in the
dude.
Super Bowl and like have your name and your number and your position announced, and you run out there in front of the fans, and then like all of a sudden there's a guy in the back being like, yo, let's go out as a team. He's like, no, fine. So it wasn't like, I don't think it was pre-planned, honestly. Just hearing the players talk about
It
it.
was as impromptu as the Justin Timberlake.
Nip rip.
It was a fucking accident. I swear to God,
That
guys.
was not an accident.
Swear to God.
So the malfunction of the wardrobe. We just happened to have a thing around the nipple.
Did you guys see that live?
Yes. I remember being at home and we had TiVo.
Oh, right.
And we were like, "Badoop, badoop." We rewatched that shit, and then it came out later. Like, that was the most TiVo'd moment in
Yeah,
history.
I bet it was.
That's when like TiVo was a verb.
TiVo.
This is
You
the hot
actually did a good
products.
job, Steve Brown, with the TiVo noise. Well done.
Yeah, that was like that show was crazy. I remember we got that. It was
Mhm.
game
Yeah,
changer.
we had never been like the cool kids on the block with technology. You go
Yeah.
to school, be like, "Yo, what's up, boys? I got that TiVo."
That TiVo. You
Well,
wanna
well,
watch it?
If you remember, we used to start Patriots games late. We would
Yeah.
wait for half an hour.
Halftime. I still do it.
Yeah, and then start it and fast forward the commercials.
Yeah, you wait till halftime, and then you can fast forward through all the commercials, and then by the time the second half starts, you can basically be caught up.
And then you get pretty good at like figuring out how long commercial breaks
Oh,
are.
yeah.
And like you'd see commercials for like shows on CBS and you'd be like, okay, let me like slow it
That's what
down
it is,
and
yeah.
then hit play. Yeah.
And by the time you hit play, it had already gone through like when they'd come back and were showing like clips of the stadium with the commercials over it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got any more questions, Greg?
Well, I thought it was funny that Mike Martz was like talking about them coming out as a team, and he was like, "That was bullshit.
Yeah.
I wanted to shove it up their ass." Like, I thought that was cool.
Eat a dick, Mike Martz.
Is he? I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny.
I thought it was stupid. And he's like, well, I haven't talked about it for this long, but they were definitely cheating, and I didn't want to come across as a crybaby, so that's why I've held on to it for 20 fucking years. But I'll say it to this, this documentary. Like, yeah, you still kind of look like a crybaby, bud. He's pretty salty, but I guess I would be too. If
I didn't think he was
14
salty.
point
I thought he was like smiling and joking about it. It didn't come off as cynical to me.
He came off as salty to me. He's just like, oh,
I think everybody
they were
does
cheating,
that.
but if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Sort of thing. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you believe that, bud.
I think that's your inner demons, Annie, that you have to grapple with.
Yeah.
You
You always
two.
think that.
Did you see the quote from you two?
Yeah. Where was it?
Like they're like pregame because the whole thing was like whether Brady or Belichick or Bledsoe is going to start.
Oh, well, do we want to get into that part first about
Sure.
the media? All right, let me show on the media real quick. It was all like Tony Kornheiser from PTI, like all quotes from him about, I can't find anybody to even say New England could win the game, just how many the Rams will win by, and talking about how the competitive state of the game is in question because it's the Patriots versus the Rams, and that this game has no juice whatsoever, so there's nothing other to write than Brady versus Bledsoe. And then they started showing clips of like, everybody talking about Brady versus Bledsoe, including you two, like Greg was talking about.
They said they wanted Bledsoe to start.
Yeah, because he had
Superior arm.
the superior arm throwing strength or something.
What the fuck is you two doing on this documentary?
They're not even American.
Right. Oh, you could tell.
You know what?
Obviously.
I think so Thierry Henry should start because he could kick the ball farther.
That's basically what it was. Yeah, but the American version. Yeah. Also, they kept cutting to like Jackie McMullen for some reason, and I don't quite understand why.
I love Jackie.
She's a
Yeah,
basketball
she's good.
reporter. She has nothing to do with the Patriots. Why are we interviewing her?
I think her football opinions are better than most Boston sports media football opinions, if I'm being honest.
Doesn't feel like
Yeah.
it. I feel like
Jackie McMullen's got a good history with Patriots supporting, right?
Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course she does. I'm not saying it's because she's a woman. I'm saying because she's a basketball reporter. Like, why
I
do
think
we?
some people
I wouldn't peg her as a basketball reporter.
That's all she. Like,
No.
all right, let's look at Wikipedia. Here we go. If you went to UNH,
Stat
UNH?
check.
yeah,
You a
won
Wildcat?
basketball for the Wildcats. Yeah,
Shit.
Da-da-da. From 95 to 2000, he covered the NBA as a senior writer for Sports Illustrated.
Okay.
Collaborated with Larry Bird on his autobiography. Released
Mhm.
Gino in Pursuit of Perfection with Gino Auriemma in 2006. New York Times bestseller When the Game Was Ours with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Collaborated with NBA superstar Shaquille O'Neal to write his autobiography titled Shaq Uncut, My Story. Good to know he's uncut. Correspondent on several cable television networks. Regular panelists on Around the Horn.
Are we doing a reading of Wikipedia this episode?
Apparently.
She's in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Give us the cliff notes here, Andy. Yes or no? She ever
There's
covered-
nothing.
She's
here
not-
about
she's
anything
not
other than
just-
basketball.
She's not just basketball. It's bullshit.
There's literally nothing on here about anything other than basketball.
Well, let's go
Controversial
ahead and
stance
edit
among
that.
members of the
Get on
Boston
the
media
pod and ask her.
when she
Mhm.
suggested that the Boston Celtics should part ways with team captain Paul Pierce. Wrote Basketball Love Story.
Do you think she's a fair media member, Andy?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything of her because she doesn't report on the Patriots. And I
Ever
don't
heard
watch
her talk?
basketball.
She's on Around the Horn. That covers
Yeah.
everything.
I don't
Everything.
watch her on the fucking Horn. That show's garbage.
You're garbage.
That show's sweet.
No, I can't say that.
To be fair, I haven't watched it in about 10 years. But
Exactly. Yeah.
Around the Horn, yeah, used to be my regularly scheduled programming.
Oh yeah, like every fucking college kid.
I feel like Jackie Mack has written stories about everything. Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots, Bruins.
Why not? I feel like I would have come across it at some point.
I don't know, Andy. Can you even read?
Coming from UC, that's rich. That's pot kettle right there, bud. Let's see those notes again.
All right, Andy, what else you got in the Super Bowl here? This episode 3.
All right. Let's see. I thought it was interesting that Tom Brady didn't party with the rest of the team after the Super Bowl. But because he just,
You also mentioned Belichick being hungover.
was all, yeah. Well, that was, yeah. I heard this story, I think before somewhere else, but
That's
basically,
bizarre to me.
yeah, that him and Brady got in the car the day after, I think, to go back to the airport to go home, and Belichick comes in stinking of alcohol and like just still drunk because he hadn't slept all night. And he sits down next to Tom and goes, "Well,
Can you imagine Belichick drunk? Like, what is that like?
right."
Probably awesome.
It sounds like it's a bit like Mick Brown, where
yeah.
that's when you get the happy drunk because he sits
Yeah,
down
I
next to
love
Tom and
yous. A
goes,
lot of I love yous.
"Well,
Imagine.
Tom, you had a pretty good year," and that was his quote. And he's like, "I don't think he's ever said anything that nice to me since."
If you'd have asked me, I would have said he'd never touched a drop of alcohol in his life.
Well, didn't it just come out today that he's never drank coffee? Doesn't drink
Really?
coffee. Yeah, doesn't drink coffee.
He just doesn't seem like a guy that likes doing fun shit, you know?
Yeah, or just anything other than football.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
this alcohol will take away from my football acumen, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
do it. But I think we should probably talk about Drew Bledsoe because he's come up a
Yeah.
lot in these first 2 episodes, and he is an absolute class act. Like we
They
kind of
undersold that moment too.
They what?
They undersold that moment of him
They
coming
did.
in the Pittsburgh game. Like they
Yep.
did not hype that up.
Pittsburgh game. See,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nothing about this so far makes me want to watch any of this shit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's still like good clips in there. Like there was one where like after I can't remember if it was after I think it was after the Super Bowl, but it was after the Super Bowl, and some guy was trying to interview Brady like on the field after the game, and Brady just like completely ignored him to go find Drew Bledsoe to give him a hug, and just like, and then there was all these quotes from Drew talking about how after the Pittsburgh game, you know, they had a couple of practices just like with both of them, and then he's like, you know, Bill called me up to his hotel room and said, you know, Tommy's ankle looks good, so we're gonna go with him, and his response was, I'll do whatever I can to help him to play well in this game, like I have all year. Like that's hard. After saying, you know, this is a bitter pill to swallow, and it was like the most disappointed I've been in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's, you know, I know we always talk about how Troy Brown was like the original Patriot way Patriot. But you could almost like make an argument for Drew Bledsoe too, being that selfless guy who's just giving back the team no matter what, even though like it kind of like it didn't end his career, but it kind of put a damper on it right then, right? He went from being the first $100 million guy to being a backup that just got shipped off to Buffalo. It was never the same.
He was in Buffalo. Started in Dallas, and he had a decent career after, but yeah. But he's also the last top 5 pick we've had. Top 3 until this year.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard that recently of like we haven't picked this high since we picked Drew Bledsoe.
That's right. I feel like Richard Seymour was high, but maybe not that high. Yeah.
The only other top 10 pick of Belichick's career is our current head coach.
Yeah, that's true. Huh.
Stat check?
Stat check that for us, Greg.
Yeah.
Couple more things while Greg do that. It's just talking about the Patriots way, and Brewski in this episode actually said that's where the Patriot way started, talking about Drew Bledsoe, the way he handled the Super Bowl, which is pretty cool because it was that selfless thing. And it's hard to argue with that. I mean,
for sure.
On the field, it's probably Troy Brown, but off the field, like that's just the way that everybody's giving everything that they have, regardless if it's on the field or not. That's a
Seymour was 6th overall. Terry Glenn 7th. Willie McGinnis 4th. Bledsoe 1st.
McGinnis then, yeah.
Irving Fryer was 1st in 1984.
Yeah.
Kent Sims, never even heard of that dude.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Kent Sims,
Jim Plunkett, 1971.
Oh yeah.
Jack Concannon in 1964. First overall.
That's pre-Super Bowl 64, isn't it? Wasn't the first Super Bowl in 66? Or was that 60?
Yeah, that's old. Mike Haynes was 5th overall. He's a legend. John Hanna, 4th overall.
Yep, also a legend. They do pretty good.
What you're saying is we should be hyped for Thursday.
Top 5 is not bad.
But the good thing about the Bledsoe moment, right, is you can look back and have the warm and fuzzies because of that game.
Right.
If he had just sat out the rest of the season and they won, it's that feeling that like he didn't contribute at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like he feels like a part of this Super Bowl season, right? Like Bledsoe earned a ring because he stepped in the AFC conference game and won the game as a big underdog. Yeah. And he can always fucking have that of like, I wasn't just on a championship team, but I contributed meaningful, to a championship team. So like that to me was why that moment is so special. Is like it wasn't some random week 15 blowout that he got in the game, right? It's just like one of the biggest games of the season, and he comes in and he wins it. Yeah. And like it's just it gives you the warm and fuzzies looking back.
This was the game that Gil and Gino came into it saying, despite all rumors to the opposite, the Patriots actually have shown up to this game and will compete against the Steelers today in Pittsburgh. Right? Like they weren't supposed to win that game either. And like you said, Drew Bledsoe came in, and the first thing he did was throw that touchdown to David Patton, and then gave that kind of like, "Who, me?" kind of shrug and looking at the sidelines. Yeah,
so sick.
Yeah.
Also, we talk about it in the game too. I remember that episode being a lot of fun when we recorded that game. But like that moment where he like steps in, it's like the second play, he's running to the sidelines and gets hit up. Yeah. And then he just like jumps back up and starts clapping, and it's like that's a fucking cool moment.
And then we found
shrug. That's a cool moment. Like there's some fucking sick parts of that.
And they just gloss right over.
I will say though, rewatching that game, it was you come in and be like, "Yo, Bledsoe won that game," and you're like, you rewatch it in full, you're like, Bledsoe
he hung on to the end.
Didn't lose that game.
Yeah,
he hung on.
He threw that one touchdown pass. That second half was like it was fucking butthole clenching. He didn't like play great, but like obviously the guy hadn't played since week 3.
Mm-hmm.
He had a fucking super serious injury like 3 months ago where he almost died on the operating table.
About the mental piece of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You almost died. You're injured for 6 weeks. You lose your job to an unnamed rookie. You haven't played in however many months. And this guy goes down and you have like 30 seconds to warm up, get in the game, and like get yourself like mentally in the right space to play.
And 2 plays later, you have an exact repeat of
Yeah. Like that's head spinning territory. Like I can't even imagine what that feels like.
Right.
Imagine how different it would have been if he had been like a malcontent and caused a fit, like in this day and age of being the diva quarterback and going to the media and putting out, sources say in the press and just being a bitch about everything. The wrong
Instagram posts and stuff.
Yeah. Unfollows the Patriots on Instagram.
Exactly. Yeah. Likes a fan's thing, like complaining about how he's not starting. Yeah.
Likes a comment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if Brewski's over here saying like that attitude is what, was the foundation of the Patriots way. Do they win because of their Super Bowls? Is Belichick is successful? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Steve, I asked a question last week. I want to hear your opinion on it. If, say, like when Bledsoe got healthy, instead of sticking with Brady, they went back to Bledsoe. Did they win the Super Bowl? And if not, how far do they go?
Well, first of all, can you say the first part again where you said you want my opinion?
I want your opinion.
Yeah.
We'll clip that, Steve. I guess.
Yeah. Those are my second favorite words besides you're right. But
you don't hear those ones very often. So
I mean, I feel like I've been on the record before of Belichick's system gets him there, and Brady has that unnatural second gear to win in the biggest moments and step it up. So, I mean, they probably lose that snowball.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
Yeah.
Look at us. We're similar, Stevie.
Oh, God. That's scary.
All right, what else we got? Super Bowl? Any notes, Andy?
Yeah, I got some. Some choice Ernie Adams quotes. Ernie Adams is my favorite part of this so far. He's just like he's your grandpa talking about fucking old football games. It's great. Talking about the Super Bowl, we shut them out for the first 50 minutes, then all hell broke out. That's about right.
Yeah.
And in the podcast with Edelman, he was talking about how during the game he didn't know any of this, but he went back and rewatched it and heard Madden's commentary. And he basically thought that Madden wanted the Patriots to go to overtime so that they could lose in, as the honorable underdog. It's like, oh, this is, they're supposed to lose, but they put up a good fight, but they should lose. So, they'll go to overtime and then that's when they'll lose it. So I thought that was kind of like an interesting take, and I'd never heard that before.
Like the Falcons.
Yeah, that kind of feel, but the other way around, especially being like the huge underdogs too. I was like, oh, you put up a good fight, but that's enough. Like you can lose now. There was also a bit more about Robert Kraft in this one too. Kind of him talking about how he ended up buying the team, which I still think didn't go into a lot of detail, but
we got a guest.
Oh boy.
Hey.
He thinks it's funny.
What do you think, Calvin? Talk to me about Spygate.
Calvin, one day we'll teach you all about our Lord and Savior, Tom Brady.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll go on mute. You can continue, Andy.
All right. Which, because at the last episode, it started with Belichick. No, not Belichick. Fucking Robert Kraft buying the team, but they just like announced it on they just showed a bit of the press conference where it happened, and that was it. And so they talked about him in this one, making the right business decision, buying the stadium and the parking, like the land the stadium was on, because that's where all the money was from, because nobody actually paid any tickets to the games. So money was all in the parking, and it also prevented other buyers from buying the team. But he did say that he was a self-made businessman, which is kind of stretching the truth, because he just took over his wife's father's business.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently I think he made some like super sketchy decisions that just worked out. Like went all in on these like really kind of crazy deals, and they worked, and that's how he ended up like becoming this big factor in the cardboard industry, or whatever the fuck it was.
Paper
or cardboard, whatever. Yeah.
Michael Scott.
Right. Except his decisions worked out.
The Dynasty book is probably way fucking better than this thing. Not that I've seen this thing, but that one that the same guy who wrote the Tiger Woods biography.
Yeah.
Jeff something or whatever.
Yes.
Benedict?
Something like that. Yeah, that sounds right.
Either way, that covers Robert Kraft buying the team and like really cool. And I learned a lot from that. And I was like,
absolutely, yeah, that's kind of what I thought we were gonna get. And we like they keep kind of like going to, but then like just scrape the surface and like running away again.
So it sounds like this documentary is just fucking bullshit. It's glossing over some of the depth stuff and showing you the shit people already know, like Snowball and the fucking
there's all the stuff
one
that we
Super
already
Bowl,
know. Yeah,
Spygate. Like, is there anything actually like new here?
Greg, have you learned anything so far from these?
I thought episode 4 was new for me, but part of it's probably because I've gone back and watched and had podcasts on all these Super Bowls. So it's like that shit is not really new to me, even if I've seen it in the recent history in the last couple of years. And you've watched highlights of that stuff a million times over, whereas the bad shit I don't really rewatch. So I found some of that kind of like, oh yeah, I guess that's how that went down.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, especially like these first few, like that 2001 Super Bowl, like all the way through 2003, because right now we're through the 2005 season. It's all kind of like fresh for us ish still, because like that's what we've talked about for a few years now. Like all these games
we've been at this for 5 years almost, Andy.
Jesus Christ.
Thanks.
September will be 5 years we've been doing this podcast.
Thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate it. That's a long ass time. We've made it through 2004.
Yeah, we're going like a one season per year.
Good for us.
Look at us go.
We're getting there.
Because we're doing stupid episodes like covering this bullshit ass fucking documentary instead of that 2005 Chiefs game where Tom Brady throws 2 interceptions to some fucking no-name guy.
I don't believe that you watched that game.
Well, we saw
I didn't watch the game. I looked it up because I thought I might meet Tom Brady, and I was like, well, I got to prepare my pitch for him.
That's nice.
And I memorized the guy's name, and I've since forgot it in the last week.
I don't think you understand what memorize means, Steve.
I memorized it for like 12 hours, dude.
He could have regurgitated it if he needed to at the time.
Yes, yeah. In those 12 hours, I had it on lock.
Yep, that's how I used to take tests in school.
Yeah.
Yep. I did think it was interesting when the one quote from Robert Kraft was he turned to Jonathan at halftime when they were up 14-3 or whatever it was, and he looked at him and said, "What am I going to say if we win?" Like he hadn't prepared anything.
Lie.
You think so?
My bullshit meter going off there, dude.
Wow. All right. I was trying to get
someone that is like an owner of a team is prepared for shit like that. They're not like, I never even considered if we win. It's a fucking game, dude. Like, what do you mean you didn't consider?
Literally, like everything. Everything, all the media coming in was about how they weren't ever going to win. There was no.
Yeah, I know, but everybody says that in football games, Andy. But everybody knows that anything can happen. And if you're the owner, you're gonna have to say something. If your team wins, you're gonna think about it and prepare for it because that's what being an adult is and having a job.
That was also the we are all Patriots thing, right? Like tonight, we are all. That's a lie. That is an absolute.
He didn't fucking think that up on the spot.
Yeah, no way. He thought that up between.
He scribbled that on a napkin as he was walking. Like fucked.
That's a fucking line.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about episode 4. Let's go to Spygate. Let's just get this.
Spygate.
That was good. That was good. Good talking about it. All right. What's next?
So first off,
what's next week, Andy?
Guilty. Guilty as charged.
I just want to say that the name Spygate is such a stupid name. Like I always find myself, getting in arguments with people, believe it or not. I'm so laid back.
Well, you are the admin of the Patriots subreddit, so that makes sense, Andy.
Yeah. Well, but like just even saying the word Spygate just feels so, I don't know, child. I just wish they had come up with like a better name for it. The same with Deflategate. Like Deflategate is even worse because it's like you just wanted to put gate on the end of something.
Spygate was fine. Deflategate was bad.
I don't know. I just wish they had come up with something. I don't know. Better.
Was this the first time they'd attached gate to a scandal since Watergate?
I thought you were gonna say ever. I was like, Steve, I got news for you, buddy.
But like now everything is something gate.
Everything is.
My question is like before Spygate. Was it like whatever gate and then Spygate Or was
I
it like
think it was
this was the
still-
first time they're like, oh, let's take Watergate and this thing.
No, I think people had been using Gate to like put on things like that, but none of them
Like
had
what?
ever like.
What? Yeah, can you think of another gate?
No, just like it was all like small shit. Like it was definitely in the
Nipple
vernacular.
slip gate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I was like,
exactly, yeah.
Nipgate,
But like I do think there were.
Nipplegate. Like that
other
wasn't
ones.
a thing. That wasn't a thing. I personally can't think of something before
I got a
Spygate
list,
that was
dude.
something gate.
I got a list.
There you go. Give me
Oh,
some
we got a
gates.
list of gates.
Dude, Nipplegate. It's on
course
here.
it
It's on
is,
the
yeah.
Wikipedia. Nipplegate, 2004.
Obviously, but pre 2001.
2004.
Yeah, that
Give me-
doesn't sound right, wasn't it? 01.
Yeah.
No,
Also
U2 was
known as
01.
Boobgate.
U2 was 01. It was the Eagles Super Bowl
Uh,
or Panthers Super Bowl.
Gamergate. I've heard of that.
Yep. But pre 2001.
no, 2007.
No, 2007. What is it?
Threshergate. British
Yeah.
Chancellor Norman Lamont had purchased cigarettes and champagne at an off license.
Nah. But like this is what I'm saying. Like it was used, but it didn't blow up the way that Spygate did.
Yeah.
I think.
And now it's everything gate.
Abu Ghraib Gate. I don't think I've ever heard it called that.
What is it?
No.
Abu Ghraib. You know the Abu Ghraib prison thing in Iraq.
Oh yeah, no that. Yeah.
Yeah, these are stupid. None of these are actually legit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I like it was used a lot, but like they were all.
Can we hit some?
stupid
Can we
ones.
hit some other highlights of gates though? While we're on this, like post 2007 gates, besides Deflate Gate,
I mean,
Pizzagate.
yeah,
Pizzagate,
that's a
yeah.
big one.
That was one.
Did they try to make Robert Kraft's Rub and Tug a gate? Kraft
was that
Gate?
a massage gate?
Yeah, I don't know. Asian. What was the name of the place? Asian.
Oh,
something or
we got
other.
Spygate 1, Spygate 2, and Spygate 3.
Right.
I think we might have made this famous. The gate thing.
Yeah, that's
well,
what I'm saying.
gonna say Nixon did, but
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Correct.
For our generation,
Bounty
this-
Gate. There's another good one.
Bounty Gate, yep.
Bounty Gate, yeah.
That's another relevant one. Yeah, speaking of Spygate, this episode kind of opens with this guy, Patrick Aramini, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, this guy.
Fucking
What a piece
hard.
of work. This guy, what a hardo he was, huh?
He was New Jersey State Police. What he used to do? He was undercover for the FBI or something like that. Like breaking up some sort of crime ring. And then after that, he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, like you can pick wherever you want to go. So he's like, I want to be the head of Meadowland Security. They're like, absolutely. And so this is the guy who's like, they brought him the tape, and he's just like, well, what is it?
He referred to himself as the mayor of the Meadowlands.
Right.
What a dickhead. What a dickhead.
An absolute dickhead, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's the one that like they gave him the tape. Like they confiscated the tape from whoever was doing the taping, and he held on. He's like, well, possession is 9/10 of the law, so I'm not giving this back to the pager. Like, dude, that's fucking our tape. Like, you can't just take it. Like, that's fucking stealing. And he's like, well, I have it now, so there's nothing you can do. I'm giving it to the league. And they just like kept going back to him too. And it's like, I don't care what he has to say. Like, it doesn't matter. Like he played this tiny little part in this where he's the one that like gave the tape to the league, and that was it. But they kept like asking his opinion on things. Like, I don't care what he has to say. Like, he's the mayor of the Meadowlands. Like, yeah, dude's a Jets fan. Like, of course he doesn't agree with it.
Have you guys like been to like the area around the Meadowlands?
No.
I mean, I've driven through it.
Dude, we have one of the locations there. Fucking awful. It's legit concrete everywhere, and just like it's weird. There's like a shitloads of power lines everywhere. Just like
There's like chemical processing plants down there too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's super industrial, tons of fucking concrete power lines, weird like hitchback intersections, highways
You
everywhere.
drive through and it feels like dystopian.
Yeah.
Where you're like, this is what the human race has done.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
take over this whole thing and put up a bunch of fucking processing plants.
You're like, dude, is this District
Vomiting
9?
smoke into the air.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you'd expect to go through to get to a stadium that houses the Jets, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Feels fitting.
It's just terrible.
They're just like dumpster fires in every corner, basically.
They're not as like there's not even fucking. You just let the dumpster fire burn because like what's it going to burn? Other concrete?
Yeah,
it's wild how much like
warmth,
zero green there is.
Yeah, wow. It is gross.
Awesome.
But the Patriots are guilty, right? We all agree. We're all in alignment here on this podcast.
I don't think that's ever really been the question.
Yeah,
right.
Which I thought
like the
Belichick. What threw me off was the Super Bowl taping thing, whereas like in my head I was like, I don't know if they really did it.
They did.
But they definitely taped the Jets, and the law is clear as can be, and they cheated.
Yeah, and it's like a misdemeanor.
Right. Yeah. And it was one of those things where like it was a memo from the league, so Belichick basically just ignored it and just did what he wanted to fucking do because he'd already been doing it.
But he knew he was cheating. We all agree with that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody did when they did it. This is one of those. It's like it feels to me like speeding, where if I get pulled, I'm like, yeah, well, you got me.
It's not speeding. It's more like peeing in public. Greg has experience in this. You're drunk, you got to piss. Everyone else is. Who hasn't walked up to a building and just taken a piss. You're like, what are you gonna do? Like find a bathroom? Like it's late. And then a cop comes up. You're like, yeah, you have your dick out in public, and you're pissing on this public building, and like, yeah, I was wrong. I shouldn't have pissed on this building. I'm sorry. I'm drunk. And then they fucking send you to prison for fucking 10 years, and you're like, what the fuck? Our inspector's over here being like, send that motherfucker to jail.
You're registering as a sex offender.
Yeah, because that happened to be a school. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it happened to be a school. It was like kind of close-ish to a school. They actually expanded the school zone to include that. Yeah. So now your infractions within the school zone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But they said they were in the documentary. They said they were routing it up to the press boxes and then relaying it to the Patriots play callers.
I missed that part.
So this is like live. It's not just like recording and then we go after the game and look and try and figure tendencies out. This was like, yes, they're videotaping and then adjusting like by play based on these.
Right. But like Belichick, I mean, they showed Belichick like doing an interview with, I don't know, 60 Minutes, what the fuck it was. And he's like, it's exactly the same way as if we were just like had somebody with binoculars up in the booth, like writing down what they were doing instead. Like this is just a bit more convenient. That's all. And that's what it feels like. It feels like the same thing that everybody else is doing. Like, even
it feels like that would be.
I don't know. I feel like it's not like anybody's hiding these signals. Like the entire fucking country can see them because it's on nationally broadcast television. And we talked about this when the Michigan stuff came up, right? Like they're really holding up these fucking huge placards with like fucking faces on. It's like everybody can see them. It's just like, can you decode it quickly enough? And, I mean, I don't know that video camera doing it live is going to help any. Like, if you're using the video camera to like study it later on, maybe, so you can go back and watch it and you don't have to like do the handwritten stuff. Like, I don't know. It feels like one of those things where you're not going to get a lot out of it. Generally.
Well, the real question is, if it was a live feed to the booth, what was on the tape? Was there even a tape?
They destroyed it.
There were tapes because they showed clips of it in this.
So was it a tape or was it a live feed?
Live feed, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was it both?
And does like 2007 technology really?
That's what I thought. I was like, would they even be able to do that now? Like,
right? You can definitely do it now with like wireless, streaming and
I'm not talking about like the actual like technology, but just think about the logistics of like how it would have to work and who would have to communicate in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
Like you have to film it, you have to relay it, you have to watch it, you have to interpret it, you have to find out what works against that play, communicate that down to the field, and then have the players on the field receive the call and adjust the play. Like that.
I can't imagine. I imagine it's drive to drive. So you see them like, okay, that when the certain people do this certain sign, they're in cover 2 defense. And so that, it's you can put your zone beaters out there instead of playing your man beaters, But Brady's always said that or he came out recently and said, if you look at the plays, it's really easy to tell if they're playing zone or man. And right now, you never see. He was pissed off about the quarterbacks never like audibling out of a play. Like, if you have a play that's calling your man beaters and you can see that they're in zone, you never see the quarterbacks audible. They just go scramble around until something happens. He was pissed about that. So I don't even think like knowing what the defense is doing is that big a deal, because I think the offenses pretty much know anyway. Like you can tell if a team is in.
Put a guy in motion, figure it out.
Yeah. So how big a deal is it really? So I don't know what they got from it, honestly.
Interview with Armin Katane was kind of sick. He got Belichick bad. Did you see that?
Which
oh yeah, I saw that.
He reads the fucking rule out. Belichick's like, well, now I misinterpreted it.
Yeah.
It's like, yikes.
I do think he's like, well, people think you're a cheater. He's like, well, I can't control what people think. I'm like, all right, that's a pretty good line. But yeah, I think also the fact that the 2007 team went and did what they did after all the stuff was confiscated and they weren't allowed to do it anymore kind of shows you that it didn't really matter anyway, right?
The fuck you touchdown was sick.
Yeah, like this. I remember, Greg, like me and you were working cleaning pools at this point, right? 2007, and this was
in England.
Huh?
I was in England. 07, fall of 07.
You didn't watch any of these games live?
Dude, I remember watching this Jets game via like ESPN's like play game thing where it just shows the play.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Describes the play. Like I couldn't actually watch it.
I remember that.
And it was like 45 yards past to Armas. And then it was like 37-yard pass to Armas. 64-yard pass to Armas. I was like, is this thing broken? Like, are these all real plays or are they just like fixing the one from before?
Yeah. Nope. Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking insanity.
But yeah, like going through it, or maybe it was a different, I don't know. I thought it was that season, but it definitely felt like a fuck you tour. Like they were putting their foot on the throats of anybody that got in their way. Like, you know what? You're next. And they were just like, they went into Dallas and just like curb stomped them. They just absolutely lit them up. And Dallas was undefeated at the time, and they were in there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have a chance." They just fucking tore in business. And at that point, I thought, "Oh shit."
I remember the Redskins game when they absolutely. Yeah. That might have been the peak when they absolutely. I was like 45-0. Yeah. I remember.
They had Matt Castle in there running for a touchdown at the end.
He was right around Halloween, and I was King Arthur for Halloween. And so I wore a crown and my Brady jersey to college the next day.
But there was some cool like behind the scenes stuff from that season, I thought, where especially like about the Chargers game, where the next game was the Chargers game after Deflategate, if you remember, and the Patriots came out and like they were fired the fuck up. But they showed this like, I don't know, this like stack of some sort of like computer equipment where they were talking about how they were monitoring the frequencies so that they would listen in to the entire like game, I guess like the headsets and stuff to make sure the Patriots weren't cheating and all that stuff. Like that's how detailed they were getting, which I had no idea was that much. And the Patriots went out and just fucking blew the doors off the Chargers anyway. It was like 41-7, 31-7, something like that. And then after the game, you know how they do the breakdown? They go, "Oh yeah," at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So Brucey was doing it back then. And he goes, "How do you feel about playing for Bill Belichick?" And then they all did that. "Oh yeah," it was like the loudest one I've heard. And then Steve, to your point, after the Redskins game, they showed a clip of Belichick with like a smirk on his face. He's like, "That shut him the fuck up." And then it's like, let's handle this one the way we always do. We'll be in on Wednesday, but it's not going to be a fucking, like a fucking summer camp, a YMCA summer camp. Like we're here and we're going to go back to work. You just won 52-0. But, yeah, all right, great.
Brady Moss
was
had
fired the
quote
fuck up
too.
Huh?
They were like talking about the fuck you touchdown and like running the score. And his quote was, "I'm a bad motherfucker too, man. I'll run the score."
I wrote that down already, Moss. Each week, Bill wanted to take the jugular. I appreciate his killer instinct. I'm a bad motherfucker too now. Like, yeah, you are.
He's the man. He came off great in this documentary too.
He was
very
awesome.
Charismatic.
Yeah, let's talk about that first game where, like that first touchdown catch against the Jets,
Forrest
Yeah.
Gump
He's
thing.
like, Tom looks at me and goes, just get open. He's talking about how he felt like Forrest Gump when the leg braces fell off, like when he was running. He's like, the look on my face was exactly the same. Because he hadn't been able to like put it in high gear yet. Because he's been practicing. He didn't play preseason or anything. And so the first time he got unleashed, he just like it looked like he out jogged triple coverage to catch like a 60-yard ball from Brady.
That
like,
shit is, that's one of the all-time Patriots highlights of all.
Yeah. That.
Yeah.
So good. And then they cut
Sorry,
to
I forgot
Josh
this is
McDaniels
audio
being
medium.
like,
The where he goes a touchdown, and then he puts his hands together right around chest height, and then he
thanks,
his palms are behind his palm to palm, and then he pulls them laterally, and like he's splitting the defense.
Not palms, but
if you know, you know.
But after that, him talking about that play, they cut to Josh McDaniels being like, dude, on the sideline, being like, this is gonna be fun. Like, yeah, it was.
All right, well, that's a good recap of 2007.
It never works out that way, though. Like, you get these super teams together. Even like when LeBron went to Miami, you're like, oh, this is going to be so insane. And it like took like 3 months for it to like really get going. And I feel like it always happens. It's like highly like everyone's like huge expected. But this fucking right out the door, like first quarter, first drive. Game, you were like, holy shit, 30.
Yeah, goes in the first drive. They hit Welker like a bunch of times, and he scored the first touchdown. The second one, there's like, well, we can do it that way, or we can do this way, and Moss down the seams. Like, fuck, all right.
This season, we shouldn't let that Super Bowl sour how fucking sick this
season was amazing. I can't wait till we get to 2007 on the podcast because
pure enjoyment.
Yeah, I mean, the Teddy Bruschi, his quotes in this were fantastic too. He's like, we're beating people's ass so bad that we're the bad guys. Sort of liked it though. I bet. And they're talking about like after, like they go out there and they play for Bill and everything. But at the after the game, we celebrate, and their celebration was Bruschi would go to his locker and he had a little fucking like iPod, like old school iPod in the like the speaker dock, that they had. And he'd play Another One Bites the Dust, and they just crank that, and everybody just like rock out to Another One Bites the Dust. Like that was the Death Star, right?
That was a sick montage. They did.
That was the Death Star. Yeah,
they actually did that same montage in the Brady documentary.
Did they?
Because I watched it like 4 times because it gave me goosebumps in the Brady one. Same thing, same song, same like time point to of like the 2007 season of like destroying teams.
Yep.
I'm not gonna get mad because it was sick, and they did it again, which is sick as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I thought that was kind of interesting that I don't know how that works with documentaries, whether they're,
I don't know, that they copy the exact same.
It's like comedians stealing jokes. Like, is that okay? I don't know, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just history, right? So who knows? But they did say that like around this time, I think it was after that game, the 2000 team was averaging 41 points per game. Like averaging 41. That's bananas.
This is what I mean, the Super Bowl, whatever, is the Bernard Pollard knee on the first quarter of the next season was really fucking worst. Because it's the same team, they're going to run it back.
Yeah, I don't know.
More vengeance on their mind, like.
Yeah, but there was the quote by
I don't know,
Scott Pioli in the episode 3 actually talking about like when you win that much, it kind of changes the way. Are you talking about like winning was kind of like a
relief? Winning is only like a relief.
So his quote was, after winning, instead of euphoria, it's just relief. And when you lost, it was just dark.
It's true. Yeah, that's what it felt like to be a fan.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Exactly. Yeah, especially around that 2007 season.
But as the games got tighter and tighter too later in the season.
Exactly. I got my butthole got tighter and tighter.
But I'll never forget that Randy Moss touchdown in the Giants game, the last game of the regular season, where they tried to play, they missed it. They just fucking ran it again. 50-yard touchdown.
And they showed it.
Like, we barely missed that. Just like call it again.
They showed it from the sideline angle, like where Randy Moss caught the ball, like that's where the camera was. And you actually see Brady take an absolute shot to the chin when he releases that ball too. Like he took a fucking hit. Yeah. And I think in the Dynasty book, Steven, that you were talking about, this is supposed to be based on, which doesn't feel like it is. They were talking about how the Giants actually came away from this game the same way the Patriots came away from the Rams game in 01. They're like, we can hang with these guys, and they don't want to play us again because we hit the shit out of them. Because they were talking about like they overheard some like offensive linemen or something talking about like that was the most physical game they played all season. So they knew that they could just come in and just like do this against the Patriots, which is what happened.
Yep.
Like almost very similar to that 2001 season, right?
You play best of 3, Patriots win for sure.
You play best out of 10, Patriots win 9 of them, right? But it's that one that counts. The media in this one, I remember Spygate media being insufferable, but this kind of brought all of it back for me. Everybody's calling Belichick arrogant and using words like hubris and, stain on the league and everything. It's like, all right, I mean,
it was
But did Arlen Specter make an appearance in this?
Nope.
Damn, that was my favorite part of the whole Spygate thing.
Yeah.
Wait,
the fucking
Spygate?
Huh?
I thought he was Spygate.
No, he was Spygate. Yeah, he was back.
Yeah,
because he
wanted to do he wanted to do a legit congressional investigation.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
And that's my point. It's like it's a misdemeanor, and like let's just fuck it.
Yeah. But yeah, and then like halfway through the episode, like at the beginning, like, oh, Belichick's, should be booted from the league, on. And then at the end, they're like, oh, they're definitely going undefeated. There's no way they have the best chance to go. Like they completely 180, like not even talking about Deflategate anymore or Spygate anymore, just like back on the Patriots nuts. It's like, well, it's typical, but I just fucking media, especially Boston Herald.
I like this. I had more problem with the Deflategate one because that one to me felt like, dude, it's a fucking PSI. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a field thing. It had, and we didn't even prove it was true.
Right.
And everyone fucking lost their mind. This to me feels a little shadier, and it's like black and white. They cheated. We've basically admitted they cheated.
Yeah.
So to me, for this one, it's like, yeah, we'll take the fucking hammer in for this. We got caught.
Yeah, but
it could have a big impact if you know what other team is calling. To me, that means something in
not
like
on defense though.
Like the NFL.
If it was on, if you knew their offensive play call, yeah.
Yeah, if you know what they're calling, like that's an advantage. I don't care what you say.
I have bad news, guys.
Yeah.
I just Googled Arlen Specter Deflategate or Spygate.
Yeah.
ESPN. Written by Seth Wickersham.
Yeah.
Wickersham. Okay.
Here we go.
Title: Son, ghostwriter of late senator say Trump intervened to stop probe of Patriots Spygate scandal.
Oh, Trump! Yeah, dude.
No way.
Did
you see the latest Wickersham?
21, May 21.
Did you see the latest Wickersham?
This thing, yeah.
Where he's claiming that Kraft basically called up the Falcons and said, don't hire Belichick.
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus. Like I've lost some respect for Kraft during all of this, but I don't even know if I'll go that far. Like that doesn't feel legit.
I doubt that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they had a heart to heart, and I'm sure he was like, Belichick's tough to work with because
absolutely.
He is.
Because he is.
But if you want to win, he's probably the guy you want.
Yep.
If you want to change the culture in your
and who did they go with? Like Raheem Morris or some shit? Like
I think it was. Yeah.
Come on, like they have that's fucking terrible.
They also like talk about like calling Belichick's references like it's a fucking like we're interviewing someone like for an entry level position
who's not a Super Bowl winner. Like
you know who Belichick is.
Yeah. Yeah, his references are 6 of them. They're sitting behind him.
8.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, 8.
The Giants ones too.
Yeah. Oh god. There was some fucking choice newspaper things in this too, which I'm kind of glad they're going out of business now. The Boston Herald, John Tomasi come out with the taping, the Spygate 2 of taping the Rams Super Bowl, like you said, Greg, and how Mike Martz, I think, has come out and like said he believes it still, and I think Marshall Faulk as well. Mm-hmm. Faulk went like, that sounds right. I'm pretty sure that happened because we could tell they knew what our plays were. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel I chalk it up to the Rams being salty that they lost to a 14-point underdog, which I would be too. But then you look at the 2007 Patriots, you never hear them talk badly about the Giants at all. Right? It's always just like, yeah, we didn't do what we needed to do.
There wasn't any rumors though.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kraft fucking got him though, the Heralds. He was like,
the quote
said that
I have it here.
you got the.
If the paper was worth owning, we would have owned it. But it wasn't, so we didn't. Like, well, shit, yeah, that ain't bad.
Yeah, dude. Dying industry, bro.
Yeah.
Podcast, dude. We're worth owning.
Podcast is where it's at. That's the future.
Dude, nobody can own this. They can't afford it. But yeah, it did go like this whole 180 from, the Patriots being the good guys back in episode 3, winning the Super Bowl against the Rams, going to be a dynasty. And then this being it ended with Michael Strahan showing the parade for the 2007 Giants with Michael Strahan talking over it. Felt like the good guys finally won, and America had been rooting against the Patriots this whole time. The evil had finally been defeated. And then it said, like, as it faded to black, said, but the devil was not done. And it like showed the Patriots being introduced to another Super Bowl. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah.
I mean, if you win, you're gonna be hated. Like, I hate the Chiefs. I'm fucking sick. Yeah.
I don't even hate them anymore because they just feel like the new Patriots.
I hate them even more.
They're just
but like everything Mahomes does, like, pisses me off now.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that his rookie season.
That's true. Yeah.
It's because they keep winning.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I don't even dislike Mahomes, if I'm being honest. I like him.
Yeah.
But now I see everything I see through the lens of fuck this guy, Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one team I hate.
The Jets?
Yeah.
You want to talk Mangini?
This is why I'm like unique. Like, the Jets fucking suck, and everyone's like, "Why do you hate them? They suck." Like, shouldn't you be ambivalent? But nope, fucking hate them.
What do you think about Mangini? Because they touched on that here too.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, I hate him.
It was kind of a scumbag move. Like,
it was.
Yeah, definitely a scumbag move.
Yeah, because there was a lot of. I think it was
very
Pioli
Jets
again. Pioli with the quote about how this is the family. When you leave the family, like you keep all that to yourself because they're the ones that helped you come up, right?
It got you there.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't spit in that,
which feels kind of like shady, right?
It does.
Like,
I mean, hey,
we're cheating. Don't tell anybody we're cheating once you leave, because otherwise you're going to be like judged too.
Yeah, that's work though, isn't it? I mean,
it's also so fucking petty to be like, well, I'm playing them and they're cheating. It's like, yeah but you were on the other side like 6 months ago cheating, so you can't really be like bitching and moaning about it.
Right.
Yeah, you can't put yourself above them.
Yeah. And like, what do you think is going to happen? Like,
exactly.
They're just going to be like, oh, fine, yeah, they're obviously going to hate you for the rest of your life because you fucking double crossed them.
Which is weird because I think Mangini, like, they didn't even touch on how close Mangini was, but he was like, I think Belichick was at his wedding or something like that. It was like a best man.
They said that him and Belichick were really close. That's all they did mention it.
Right, but yeah, but like I don't think they were emphatic enough about how close. I think they were like super fucking close.
We'll cover that in a future podcast episode, Andy.
Right. I wish I could hear like the real, honest conversation like a Belichick would have about that.
Yeah,
like he must have been fuming.
Well, they kind of touched on that too, about like Pioli was saying he felt that Mangini had betrayed him, and he was like so close to him that it caused Belichick to kind of distance himself from everybody else who was close to him in that organization, which kind of set a bit of the tone. I'm wondering how long that went, and if that was like something that eventually softened, and then they started winning Super Bowls again.
I thought that was interesting too.
Was that part of the drought? Was Belichick just wanted to do it all by himself because he couldn't trust anybody?
No, I think it's just hard to win fucking Super Bowls.
I mean, it's that too.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because they're in the mix every single fucking year.
So, I mean, yeah, and I've had, you see a lot of Patriots haters talking about how, the Patriots, every Super Bowl they won, they got lucky. And it's like, well, Yeah, I mean, to win a Super Bowl, it takes some luck. Every Super Bowl winner has gotten like a lucky break somewhere along the lines, right? But you have to put yourself in that situation. You have to be good enough to be able to get to the playoffs. And
you
then
think Nick Foles is actually good? Like,
yeah. say you get a call where a fumble was ruled an incompletion. You're still losing. You still have to finish that drive, score the touchdown, and then go kicking out a field goal in the next drive, right? So like there's some luck happening, but like every team has to have a bounce here or there to make it work. And the Patriots just put themselves in the position. Like they went to 14 straight AFC Championship games and won 9 of them. Like if you can get there, like you'll take the lucky bounces to get to the next stage because like it's football and anything can happen on any given day. Look at the 2007 Super Bowl, right? 2001 Super Bowl. Even like Ernie Adams talking about like 2001 Super Bowl. He's like, yeah, they were the better team. We just, we had a game plan and it worked. But skill level wise, like, we weren't there yet.
I'd give up 2 Super Bowls for the 07.
Which ones?
Yeah. So would I.
If I get to pick which ones, I wouldn't give up like the 28-3 and the Seahawks one.
Right.
I wouldn't.
Would you give up both?
But
Rams
if you told me like the second Ram, yeah. Oh, both Rams ones too.
Yeah.
The first one was so sick.
Right.
I give up the Rams one, the second Rams one, and either of the Carolina.
Or the Eagles. Yeah.
Eagles. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 304. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty much what most people would say, I would imagine. But the thing is, if you win that 2007 season, do Belichick and Brady stick around? If you finish a perfect season, like what else is left?
They just keep fucking kicking dicks.
Why bother? Like, you beat the game. Like there's nothing else. There's nowhere higher to go. Like you just keep piling on the wins.
Fun. Yeah,
maybe. But I feel like the drive's not there anymore. Like I feel like that lit a fire. Like a more of a fire. I mean, obviously these are.
That's a good question. If they win in 07, do they win the 3, 5, 6, 7 years later?
I don't know. I mean, what did Brady have left to prove?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, keeping up with Manning with all the.
But honestly, I think at its core, it's how they're both wired. Is like even if they win, they're ultimate competitors, and they don't care. They're just gonna like, let's win it again. Let's win 2 in a row. Let's go 2 undefeated seasons in a row. Like, and that's what's made them so good at their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're fucking psychopaths.
So yeah, the fucking watching the Super Bowl sucked. That was bad.
Although I will say that throw that Brady had last gasp to
Moss on the sideline
may have been the best Brady pass that nobody remembers. It went like 70 yards in the air and hit him in the fingertips in stride and just got broken up. Like that's a fucking
so sick if he caught that.
Right.
Imagine.
And if that's how they win,
that'd be awesome.
They catch that, kick a field goal overtime and then win it.
Last second.
You fucking kidding me? Like that, you walk away. You walk from the game because you can't top that.
So sick.
Like, I'm really not trying to relive this. All right, what's next?
I felt so bad for Rainy.
I know.
What's next?
It's hard. It's hard, dude.
Yeah.
What's next?
So next,
Aaron Hernandez.
Episode 5 is Torn. Episode 6.
The Devil's not dead yet.
Are we still on? I can't believe I'm really trying to think of that 2005's Chiefs game where he throws 3 interceptions to that no-name Chiefs guy.
We'll get back.
Can you just look it up already?
Yeah, let me actually look that up.
Jesus. So one last note on this one. One quote that I thought was pretty funny that had shades of 2001 going back to it was they had some Giants player being like, our dynasty starts today after beating the Patriots. I thought, nah.
That didn't work out.
Nope. I don't even think he made the playoffs next year. Oh, boy. Well, yeah. And then there was this New York Post. I clipped it. I took a screenshot of New York Post, like front page. Said, who's afraid of Tom Brady now? Girly man limps home because they caught him with a boot on before the Super Bowl.
Girly man limps home, dude.
Right. Girly man. Why? Like, how is this a fucking legit news?
Like fucking Meadowlands right there. Yeah.
He's a dick. Yeah. That's that. I bet that started a whole bunch of fucking dumpster fires in the Meadowlands.
I mean, it's a comedy newspaper, you know.
Barely.
Boy lives home is so funny.
Early man lives home, and it's just like him walking with like you can just barely see a boot on like underneath his jeans, and they have it like circled in red.
Hell yeah, dude.
Comedy tits. You figured it out yet, Steve? Come on.
Greg Wesley.
Okay.
No, I
three
remember
picks.
him.
Yeah, he has more picks than I thought. He has 29 career interceptions.
It was reasonable. But he had 3 picks of Brady in the next game I'm watching?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Brady throws 4 in the game.
Yeah,
He doesn't do that often. He only did that a couple times.
I have no idea.
He's
I've never heard this guy.
G on there. That's pretty good.
What?
He's only got 1 G on there.
Yeah. Played the Chiefs 2000 through 2007. 500 tackles.
How many
118 games.
How many games do you think Brady threw 4 interceptions in his career with the Patriots?
6.
8 to 10.
Damn, Greg.
6?
6.
Nice. Speaking of Gregs that have 2 G's and are assholes,
Greg Doyle.
did you see this guy?
Yeah.
Caitlin
Wait, is he in this thing?
Is
he in this
flaking
fucking
asshole.
documentary?
No. He's just in the news because he was being super fucking.
He's the Indianapolis reporter that was all over the Pats. For
that other Greg, not the bounty cake Greg.
Dude, every Greg with 2 G's is a dickhead. Dude. It's like without.
That's true.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Yeah, because what's the bounty gate guy, Greg
Williams.
Yes, yeah, Greg Williams, because he was the Bills coach when they were taking the team that took that shot on Brady where his helmet popped off when he tried to slide.
Yeah,
you know that clip you always see of Brady getting hit. Yeah, it's a great
Clemens.
I think it was, yeah, and that's the game where Patton got knocked out cold, but because the ball was because he was touching out of bounds and touching the ball, it was still his. Yeah. Same team, fucking headhunters, of course.
It's okay. Greg Doyle responded. He said, he tweeted this 23 hours ago. He said, Caitlin Clark, I'm so sorry. Today, I was part of the problem. What?
That's because his account got canceled today. His account got canceled because he initially posted a blog or an article about it, and it showed that he hadn't learned a lesson at all. He's like, oh, it's just how I talk to people. Yeah, okay.
I mean, to me, he's just he's just a weirdo. Like, I don't think it was like him trying to like get in her pants.
Yeah, it's still no, but it was still like, yo, well, if you do that to me, you know, we'll have a good relationship. It's like,
he's just
sketch, dude.
He's just an uncharismatic human.
He's a dick, and he's also like he's the guy that made up that Patriots fans slashed his tires because of his reporting on Deflategate, and it turned out that didn't happen. His car was at home the whole time.
Loser, dude.
Yeah, absolute loser.
That's tough.
So he looks like such a noob too.
Yeah. All right. So I think we've talked enough about this, and we're going to have to save some of our sanity for the next 6 episodes.
There's 6 more.
And 6 more.
Is Aaron Hernandez in the next thing?
Yes.
You need to watch it, please. Can you do that?
Yeah, I don't have any way or desire. It's really just a lack of desire.
Right, I know, but I have.
Watch the Aaron Hernandez. That was probably interesting.
Yeah, you have to.
Why? I already know how Aaron Hernandez get caught because he has cameras in his house. You know, that's why I don't have a Ring camera, just in case I murder somebody.
Well, at the very least, can you go kill someone and have homosexual sex between the next time we record? So,
just so you can have something to talk about. See, we need you to have something to add to the podcast, please.
Yes.
Jesus. All right. Well, I guess.
All right. I'll see you soon, Greg.
We should all do that.
I think there's only one thing left to say.
Tune in next week to see how much of a blubbering little bitch Greg is on the Patriots Dynasty Podcast.
See you later.
See you later.